7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
All right, welcome everybody to the Owl's Nest Barbecue Catch-Up Show. Before we get started tonight, we've got breaking news as we come on the air tonight. Let me tell you what's going on. It is, where is my thing right there? Joey Chestnut at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time put out this tweet on X. I'm thrilled to be returning to the Nathan's famous 4th of July hot dog eating contest. This event means the world to me. It's a cherished tradition, a celebration of American culture, and a huge part of my life while I have and continue to partner with a variety of companies, including some of the plant-based space. Those relationships were never a conflict with my love for hot dogs. To be clear, Nathan's is the only hot dog company I've ever worked with. I respect that there were differences in interpretation, but I'm grateful we were able to find a common ground. So, on July 4th at Coney Island, on the Nathan's July 4th hot dog eating contest, the field will include Joey Chestnut. How about that, fellas?
Awesome.
You guys don't look as thrilled. Jason, you look as thrilled as the guy did when he gave you the 180 chicken.
No, I'm good. I just drove about 400 miles today. I'm good. I am thrilled.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. If you want to follow us, please do. You can follow us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and you can listen to the show anytime in podcast form. Simply go to Spotify. We're brought to you by the Pit Barrel Cookers, America's favorite drum smoker, by the entire lineup of Green Mountain Grills, the Ledge Peak 2.0, brought to you by Blackstone Griddle, in stock now at Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply, and by the best kettle grill on the market, the Napoleon Kettle Grill, more features and better quality than any other kettle grill on the market. And I think you two have seen it. I think y'all can concur with that.
It is definitely a good quality grill for sure.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I've got y'all on the show tonight is on Saturday, y'all went down to Huntsville, Alabama to I want to make sure I get this right now. What was that thing called?
Ditto Landing.
The what was it?
Ditto Landing.
Was that the name of the place where it was?
Yeah.
That's where it was.
A reeling and smoking barbecue contest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
That sound right?
Yeah.
35 teams, right?
Yep.
And the two of you, if you read the Chattanooga.com this week, you've seen it. Mind If I Smoke Barbecue with Michael Williams and Jason Penley, they won the contest. Fellas, that is fantastic. It's fantastic.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And to even make it better, Michael, you and Jason switched this week where you got the perfect score, 180 in chicken, and Jason, you darn near got the perfect score.
I missed it by one number.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
What were you guys thinking when y'all went down there this time? Because Michael, you made a very interesting post after the contest was over, where you said, "I'm not going to cook today because I've been practicing, and I finally got to where I wanted to be." So, tell me what your lead up is to the contest, because it seems like you have just been every time we check Facebook and all your social media posts, you're working on those ribs.
You know, Steve, I put a lot of effort into cooking ribs, and you know, I go to competitions and I turn in stuff that I like. The judges don't always agree with me. I get decent scores. This was the year that I wanted to get a 180. You know, I wanted that 180 score, and I put a lot of practice in it. So usually what I do is I come home from a competition, even if I get a second place or third place call, it just wasn't good enough. You know, I wanted that first place 180 score. So I would come home from every competition and I'd go buy ribs and I'd cook ribs again. I'd try to figure out, what did I do wrong that the judges didn't give me the score that I wanted. So, I mean, that's been my motivation in trying to get better scores, is trying to please the judges, trying to figure out the tenderness. And that's basically what it is. You've got to hit the right tenderness and get lucky on the table that you get put on, that the judges are going to give you the tenderness scores that you're really looking for.
So obviously you hit that tenderness note for him.
I did hit it.
He hit it all this week.
Yeah.
And Jason, you weren't far behind on the tenderness, missing a 180 by I think 2 points, were you?
Yeah, well, it was 2 points because, you know, KCBS scoring is weighted. If I would have had if judge number one, Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he gave me a 988.
Yeah.
If one of his eights would have been a 9, then I would have hit.
Yeah.
Or a 989, maybe it's a 998 or something, Michael. I don't remember. If he would have given me one more, I would have hit it pretty much.
Yeah.
Now, did y'all? I think now, Jason, when we talked last time a couple of weeks ago, when you had your 180 in chicken, you said that you don't prep your chicken beforehand; that you wait till you get to the contest. Did you follow that same methodology?
Yeah, when I do trim my chicken pre-contest, but that's it. I trim it and vacuum pack it, and that's it. That's really all we're allowed to do.
Okay, so you did do that before the contest.
Yes, yeah. I always have it trimmed before. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, Michael. Now I think maybe it was you that said you didn't do anything before the contest.
That's right.
Well, this time I didn't trim ribs until after I got there. You know, the whole week leading up to the competition, I just kept procrastinating. You know, I didn't have anything loaded. My trailer wasn't ready. Thursday evening was the first time that, you know, I had touched anything trying to get stuff together. And then Friday, I finished loading it up when I got off work, and then we left. So normally I have my ribs trimmed and vac sealed. The trailer's loaded the Sunday before, and I'm just sitting there waiting, ready to go. But last week, I just wasn't feeling it. I was like, another competition. Here we go. You know, I'm going to go do it. It's going to be fun, but
They had thunderstorms called.
Yeah, the thunderstorms. I mean, I just wasn't all excited about it. You know,
we get that every weekend now. That's
apparently, yeah.
if thunderstorms, while y'all were gone, we got one here at 2:30 Saturday. It wiped us out. It just about wiped us out.
Yeah.
So we're gonna. I tell you what. Let's take a real quick break. When we come back, we'll dig more into this contest. Now, also, I've got a special guest that's going to be with us. We'll be right back. Stay with us here on the Owl's Nest Barbecue Catch-Up Show. This is Steve Ray. Pete's on vacation. We've got Michael Williams and Jason Penley from Mind If I Smoke Barbecue. Hey, this is Steve Ray at Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply here in Ooltewah, Tennessee. The Green Mountain Grill Smoker Grill, the best pellet cooker on the market. Come on over, let me show you. A big hopper. It'll hold 18 to 20 pounds of pellets. Thick gauged metal. It won't rust. It will last you for years and years and years. The shelf, right up in the front. Handy. The Green Mountain Grill pellet smokers. The best grill for your money right here at Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply in Ooltewah. Rejoined by Michael Williams and Jason Penley.
Oh, look
We got
here.
a special guest.
Oh,
We got we've got the boss in the room with us. Hello, David.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hey,
David
David.
Bosca from Butcher Barbecue. I thought it would be nice, Michael and Jason, to bring David on board with us, since y'all are the ambassadors here locally, two of the ambassadors here locally for Butcher Barbecue. And David, how proud are you of these guys?
Oh, I know they've worked hard. We'll pass messages back and forth, and I tell you what, it's really great to see just the week and the week and the week, all the things that they are cooking and cooking great. And I think they hit it right on the head. I was listening earlier. It's not the prep. It's not this. It's not that. It is just the time and the effort they put in. It's just pecking away at it. And once you find it, you now know what it is. You know what you got to get back to. And I think now that you guys have touched on that, now you understand the whole gamut of what you got to do. So, hey, now it's time to have fun and do it again.
Yeah, we got to replicate it now.
It is.
Of course, David Bosca, two-time world champion barbecue cook in the World Food Championships. He's won a world championship there, and he also won the Jack Daniels Invitational. So two pretty big contests that David launched his world championship career in. David, does it make it harder now for them, now that they've tasted not only success, but they've thrown both of them have thrown the no-hitter now, and they know exactly what they're looking for?
Does it make it harder? No, just don't put that pressure on yourself. Remember that it's still up to the judges.
Yep.
All you got to do is hit those thresholds of what you like. And now that you know what it is that they're liking, just continue trying to hit that threshold. But I think the biggest thing I always tell people is read those results from KCBS. They will give you that information. You just got to decipher, read into it and figure it out.
And David, that's a hard thing to learn and to figure out too, is you look at those scores in that score sheet, if you've got a 7 on there, you're like, man, but you really need to look, even an 8, you need to look at where it's at in there. Being KCBS, as well as anybody, we're judged on 3 different things. And they're really trying to tell you, that particular judge is trying to tell you what he didn't like about your particular protein. So it is important, and that's a great point to learn to look at that score sheet.
Yeah, and I think what you have to do is read into the score sheet.
Yeah.
Go back and look at the table you hit.
Yep.
And see who else was on that table. And if you know them, which most of us know everybody in the group, and if you would call them a top, let's say 30% cook, and say they're down, say that it was a table that didn't like your food, and they're down about to the same level that you guys are down, don't be doing any wholesale changes. You know that those judges that wasn't the cup of tea of what you guys are getting to, and vice versa. If you read that paper and there's nobody on that table that you know of, or maybe they're first time cooking, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say first time cooks don't know what they're doing, but it may be just pure smoke flavor. It might be pure salt flavor. And if yours was 8 right after it, that's a possibility of what could happen. So, and I like what Mike said about he gets right back home and he'll grab another deal of ribs and cook on it. Something I always do is I eat my food the next day when that smoke ain't in my mouth, so that I can taste what it is they're tasting. Do you guys do that?
Go ahead, Michael.
Well, normally when I'm doing a competition practice, I'll cook my food, I'll rest it, I'll slice it, and I'll give it about 20 minutes after I've pretend boxed it. I'm trying to give it that time to kind of see what the judges are tasting at that point.
Yeah.
So, I give it about 20 minutes and then taste it.
Kind of a little inside thing that that Michael and I talk about too. If your food's not good cold, if you've got good cold food, it's probably going to be good warm. So we try to, because a lot of times those judges are not guaranteed that they're eating hot food. Most of the time, it's just kind of, room temperature almost, maybe a little above room temperature.
Yeah. Good. Glad to hear it. I knew you guys knew what was going on. I just come on to say congratulations.
We appreciate it, man. That's a shock to see you here tonight. That's awesome. We appreciate it. Yep.
Michael, we always talk about it. It's a tenderness game, and it always brings me back to what Darren Worth always said. He goes, "If I can get the tenderness just right, I can beat you with a bottle of ketchup and mustard."
Yeah.
And is that something, Michael, that when you're practicing, and you too, Jason and David, you join in too, because you were in a contest just this past weekend as well in Kansas. Are you beaming in on the tenderness or flavor? What do y'all, Michael? What are you looking for first when you're practicing?
I'm looking for the right tenderness, and I'm going to tell you that's a moving target that changes every single competition. But it's a percentage game, like me and Jason was talking about. If you do enough competitions and you do the same tenderness every single time, you're gonna hit and you're gonna get points. Yeah. But trying to figure out what that tenderness is, you're trying to replicate week in and week out. That's the trick.
Yep. Yeah. Sometimes
Jason,
we call it.
You.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Well, and to follow up what David was talking about and stuff, sometimes you land on a vegan table, it seems like, and we don't know why they're there even judging meat. Like, what do you people didn't taste the same meat that I did. But yeah, it's, you want to try to nail the tenderness. Of course, flavor is very important, but if you can nail that tenderness, flavor will follow. That's a key.
David?
I agree with what they say, and keep in mind, talking KCBS, flavor is the heaviest weighted.
That is true.
So flavor is more important than tenderness, but I think the reason and I'm with you guys, I agree that tenderness is it's a factor that it's got to remember how these judges are told to judge.
Yeah. And
they are told, let's take chicken or ribs, to take a bite of it. And while they're eating, they're to be figuring out if that tenderness, how that tender was. At the end of the bite, what did you taste? So tenderness is put in front of the way they are instructed to judge. So that's why we think it's that important, because I've always said what you do the last 15 minutes of a cook is more important than the first 3 hours. And I think that's because we're all concentrating on getting it done right.
Yep.
David, hold it. You're watching and listening to the Owl's Nest Barbecue Catch-Up Show. Our special guest tonight, Michael Williams, coming off of a 180 perfect score in ribs this past weekend in Huntsville, Alabama. His partner, Jason Penley, a 178 on chicken, and two-time world champion David Bosco. We'll be right back.
This is Ned. He is the proud owner of a pit barrel cooker. Ned, tell us what you like about it the most.
It's an excitement every time you use it.
Excitement?
Excitement. It's every time. I put a roast in there. My wife loved it. 3.5 pounds. Let's see, I've had steaks in it, cooked chicken in it, hang the birds in there, hung steaks, hot dogs. Put some seasoning on them and just hung them up with your little hangers here.
Yeah.
And just hung them up in there for about, a half hour, 45 minutes. Came out nice and juicy and tender.
Thank you, Ned. We're back. David Bosco, Michael Williams, Jason Penley with us, talking a little bit of contest barbecue. David, how do you when you said something that's interesting, you talk about the last 15 minutes of before you turn your meat in. That's when the contest or your entry is decided. What are you doing in the last 15 minutes? And then Michael and Jason, will come to you on that.
Well, I'm going to start with the last 15 minutes being the box preparation. But when I'm talking about like what I'm talking about, I was talking about while it's still on the cooker. Making that decision, checking it out, knowing if it's right on the time. Will it take 15 more minutes? Was at the end of that 15 minutes up, that was too much time. I think that pit mastering is what's important, and it only comes in time.
Yeah.
I've always said meat cutting, but it goes with this too. The more circumstances you've been in, the more you know what to do. And when it comes to the box prepping, I think that picking the right meat, choosing the right product, getting the feel, because we're all in this. We all know as we're slicing our ribs or any of that, man, we're making a subliminal test in our mind. Oh, that's perfect, or that's a little firm. I can feel it. So we're doing that as we're prepping the box also. And the worst thing to turn in, but the hardest thing to get a 180, is the chicken, because there's about a 99% chance that every one of those chicken thighs or drums, whatever it is you're turning in, came off of each different chickens. So it's not like a slab of ribs you can take out of the center knowing what the flavor or the tenderness is. There's a great chance every one of those pieces of chicken you cooked could be completely different.
Perfect examples this weekend.
It's Michael's ribs, David.
Yes.
6, 2 on each side. I like that. I like that a lot. It looks nice. And here's Jason's chicken. Jason, your chicken this time your other chicken looked fantastic, and this looks better.
Thank you.
So whatever you're doing in that box, I know that's leaf lettuce. I guess you're making those little what do they call those?
I make little discs. They're just super easy for me to do, and we like kale. We usually carry a spare bag of kale with us just in case. But I mean, we're getting 9s on appearance, so we can't complain about it. It's super easy. How long did it take to build those boxes, Michael? 5 minutes?
Yeah, 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah.
I mean, it's quick. But to follow up what David was talking about, even with chicken, like, at the end, we're looking at each other's product. I'm looking at Michael's ribs. It's always good to have an extra set of eyes looking at your turn-in box. So I carried 16. I did 16 thighs to get 6. Sometimes I carry 12, sometimes 16, just how I'm feeling. So Friday, before we left, I told Michael, I was like, I'm not 100% happy with my chicken this time. I'd already had it trimmed and vacuum packed. I was like, so I went and bought another pack Friday morning. I come home and I trimmed 4 more thighs because I told Michael, I said, I just want more to pick from. But I got them all boxed up, and I had four testers and stuff, and took the box, turned it in. And this time we had to drive to turn in. We had to get in the car and drive. Yeah. So, no, we had to drive to turn in. So I come back, and the thighs are sitting there, and I tell Michael, I'm like, hey, try this thigh and tell me what you think. Michael takes the thigh and bites it, and he's pulling, and I'm like, Michael, what are you biting? And he's like, I don't know. So I'm a nervous wreck. I'm like, oh my gosh, what in the world just happened? But I mean, it ended up, I told Michael, I said, well, that kind of tells me that I'm culling out, I'm picking out what I need to pick out. Of course, you never know what's inside that, you've all been into a piece of chicken and got a gristle or, something odd in a piece of chicken. So I was like, oh my gosh, I've done turned in a crap thigh, but it worked, and we're building Michael's box after we come back, and normally he'll do an 8-bone box, or you got to turn in at least 6, but everybody says be careful because you can't be judged on something that you don't put in the box. So you put 8 bones in that box, there might be one that's a little tight, and that judge happens to pick that tight bone when if you'd have just put the 6. So I mean, we were taking a chance even putting the 8 bones in there, but kudos to Michael. He nailed the ribs this past weekend. And man, if y'all could tasted those ribs, I knew, man, he had that perfect bite. He had the perfect pull. The bite, the texture was spot on. And I was like, Michael, that's dang good right there. And of course, you always tell your buddy, that's good, but you know when you're turning in a solid product.
Yeah.
It is. Michael, what's the last 5 minutes of your rib turn in like?
Oh my goodness. I mean, everything's racing through your mind at that point. You're looking at ribs that you've sliced. You're trying to pick out the best looking ones that that pair together well. The best color, the thickness. I go ahead and finish all the ones that look good out of each rack, and I put them on a wire rack together, and I'm looking at them. So at that point, it's visuals that I'm looking at, because I've already tasted ribs off of each rack. I know how tender the taster ribs are for each rack that I've cooked. And at that point, it's just a visual thing for me. What looks the best to go in the box.
Do you try to get the ribs out of the same rack, or does it not matter to you?
It doesn't matter to me. I'm getting the best ribs that I can pick. And that's why, I cook 3 racks of ribs, and I figure that, I've got a backup for a backup. If I can get them all out of one rack and they look good, I'll do that. But if I have to get 4 out of one rack, or even 3, the box I turned in had 3 from one rack, 3 from another, and 2 from another. So I just kind of pieced it together that the 3 in the center, the double stack 3, were out of 2 different racks. And that was the
David,
thickest.
do you try to get your ribs out of the same rack, or is yours a hodgepodge as well?
I go for the best ribs.
Okay. Makes sense.
I lay mine down on a table and kind of build a mock box with how I want them to lay. I'm sure everybody does this, but then I got my visual, like exactly what Mike says, but no, not out of the same slab.
So Michael, you've already got, when yours hit the box, you're not doing anything else. You're not putting a little bit of salt on the top just to get somebody's attention. Like, the first thing a judge tastes is the last thing you put on the food. Is everything's already done when it goes into your box?
I may touch it up with a little bit of sauce if I happen to knock the shine off somewhere trying to get them into the box. But pretty much I've already got everything finished. I've got my finishing dust on them. My sauces, whatever I'm putting on it is already there. It's just final touch up once I get it in the box.
Jason, do you let your chicken rest at all, or does it come pretty much off your drum and onto the prep table?
This week I actually had to rest. My chicken finished up a little bit early. I cooked 16 thighs this Saturday, Michael. So I was a little worried about airflow and slowing stuff down. Some of the thighs were a little bigger. So I told Michael, I was like, I'm going to go on 15 minutes early than my normal timeline. And they finished 15 minutes before I needed them to. Which, and normally here lately, I cook 2 pans. Here lately, one pan has been hurrying up a lot faster than the other pan, and it's been crazy. But this time, both pans hit. My target temp was dead on in both pans. And I told Michael, I was like, I'm going to have to let these hang out for a minute. I'm done. Like, I don't want to leave them on there any longer, So I pulled them off the pit and let my chicken rest. But normally, no, I do not let it rest. No, we've got it down. The timeline is down to the minute of when I'm pulling off, when I'm saucing, when I'm box building, to allow. I want to turn in the as close to the temperature that I want the judges to taste that I can with my chicken.
David, I've always listened to. When Tuffy Stone, when I've been to his schools and I've spoken with him, his mantra is, I'd rather be looking at it than looking for it. What meats, David, do you think helps the most to rest in a contest, and what meats does it hurt to rest?
I think chicken, it hurts. I'm a firm believer in my chicken is going in, coming off the grill. I set the sauce, going straight in the box and turning it in. Even at that point, I've already got, I do thighs. I've already got the ones that I've pre-selected from the time that I've trimmed. I like them. They're going in this section of my grates. And while they're cooking, my head is always, what would you say? I'm pilfering through and I'm pre-selecting, and then all of a sudden I'm going to go, well, you're out, you're in, you're out, you're in. And as I'm saucing, I've got my final 6, and I'm sitting there going, these are them. So when I go to my table, I'm matching them up to where I can turn it which direction I want them they're going straight in.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, I think absolutely brisket and butts need to rest. Ribs, I have done it both ways. I have set my ribs to where they're coming off for KCBS turn-ins 20 minutes before they have to be turned in, coming off at 12:10. I've had them come off at 11. I haven't seen a major difference for ribs, but for
Leave them wrapped in foil and just let them rest that way.
yeah, yes.
That's what's interesting about the chicken, because I've always it seemed like the best score I ever got in chicken, Jason, was like you. I let mine rest one time.
Yeah, and it was just one of them things this weekend. It just finished a little quicker than I needed it to, because there's a certain time in my timeline that I'm checking temps. I peek at them. They're in the butter bath, and I peek at them and I look at them to make sure my skins ain't splitting, and I'll probe a few of them just to see where I'm at. And when I started probing this time, I told Michael, I said, I'm gonna have to pull the other pan off. These are done. And,
hold them in the butter bath is the best and about the only way to really do it.
That's what I did. I pulled them and let them hang out, because I knew the butter would stay warm for a while, and I didn't want my chicken to get cold, but I kind of wanted to slow down that cooking process, so I just held them in the butter bath. But going along, like finishing my chicken, even though I'm carrying 16 thighs, there's one practice that I would like to get into a little more, like David talked about. I've been talking to some people, and even when they're prepping and they're vacuum packing to carry them to the contest, they'll pack them in certain orders and certain, this is a corner chicken, this is a protector chicken, and that's the way they arrange them on the pit. And I mean, there is some when I'm trimming that I know is not going to make the cut. That's automatically a taster, right off the bat. But I'm still carrying it as a taster. But when I come off the pit or even out of the butter bath and whatnot, I pick out I usually do about 9, because we've got a couple of tasters. So I'll find my 6 that I know pretty sure is going in the box, then and then pull some extras out. And then those other ones, I've got 10 to 7 to 10 left over. I don't even fool with them anymore. I don't sauce them at that moment. They're totally out of my mind. I'm focusing on just the 6 to 9 to 10 that I'm tasting and that we're going in the box with, and that's where all my focus goes in that last few minutes.
Now, when you're cooking them, are you cooking them on a pattern that you think that might work as a box?
No,
the chicken.
Well,
so you don't do that.
Not as a box pattern. I'm there. I do strategically place them somewhat in the pit. If I know one's not going to make the cut, I'm going to put it out there on the edge. That way, if something does happen, if it gets hot on that outside edge, then that one's just a taster already, so I'm not going to fool with it. I'm putting my cream of the crop in that prime position on that pit for the cook process.
Hey, we'll be right back. We're going to take a real quick break here. You're listening to the Owl's Nest Barbecue Catch-Up Show. I'm Steve Ray. Pete is on vacation. He'll be back in a couple of weeks. Michael Williams, Jason Penley, and two-time world champion David Bosca hanging with us. We'll be right back. Hey, this is Steve Ray at Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply Noodle Wall, and I am really excited about this. Eggs, sausage, bacon, Loco Mocos, for gosh sakes, on the Blackstone griddle. It's the fun part of your back porch. This is the fun station. This is where you all gather around and make great food. And we've got them now here at Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply in Ooltewah, and all the accessories too. The Blackstone griddle. Get yours right here at Owl's Nest. All you backyard cookers, what does your life lack? Choices for your pellet cooker flavor, right? We've got them right here at Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply. The best selection of pellets in the Chattanooga area. Just in Barbecuer's Delight, apple pellet, contest mix from Barbecuer's Delight, pecan, cherry, oak. back on the Catch Up Show. David, you just texted me a picture of your chicken box. I guess that's from this weekend, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
We'll
Yes.
just hold that, give it a little shot right there.
Yeah.
Nice.
We had a fun time. We had some major storms. We had like 16 inches of ruts trying to get everybody out. We had one of those huge front end loaders, and that was chained to all the trucks, and then chained to that was a backhoe. I mean, it was a mess. I lost 3 cookers, and let's see, about 9 o'clock in the morning, I had to get everything to another cooker and finish it out. So I'm with you, Jason. There's things that you can't control, but you got to be a pit master, and that chicken was one of them. That cooked. My brother was with me, and I said, "How long's the walk?" He said, "I believe it's 2 minutes." I said, "Okay, we're going to give you 2.5 minutes."
Michael, what was the deal with having to drive to turn in your boxes? I've never heard of that. Have you, David?
Not to drive. No, can't say I have.
I've done the golf cart thing,
Yeah.
but never got to get in the car.
Well, we were on a property that had an old side and a new side. We were in the new side of the campground, which the turn-in area was at a pavilion on the old side. So it was either a 10-minute walk,
At least.
or get in a truck and just drive down there, which was only just a couple of minutes.
So they didn't change the window, the 10-minute window or anything?
No, you can't.
Not at all.
Wow.
Turn-in
Never.
time was turn-in time.
Yep. You just have to adjust your cook times. You just have to adjust.
All right, David, you're a KCBS representative, and you've been charged with obtaining talent for the 4-meat pro side competitions, and you're trying to talk Michael and Jason into competing on the pro side. Go ahead.
All right, guys. Everybody can play the G League and basketball and football, but you've got confidence. You know what you're doing. You're trusting these meats, and I know you know how to cook the last 2 categories. But when you approach, I'm not going to say if, when you approach going over to the master side, just do exactly the same approach to that as you did to the first 2 meats. Practice at home. Practice the complete cook, top to bottom, okay? From chicken, ribs, and then finish it out with that and the pork and the brisket, because that's going to change the chamber inside your cooking. Or you may have one step at 9 o'clock. You have to do 3 things now. You can't split yourself 3 ways. So make those tweaks and your changes in your garage and your driveway. Then when you get there, we expect another grand champion. It's maybe another $100 to enter it, but man, look at the thousands of dollars extra your wives could have.
What money are you talking about winning? We didn't win any money.
It's just between me and you and the fence post. My wife thinks these are ribbon-only contest.
That's right. Yeah, we got a pat on the back. That's all we got.
Yeah, I got a trophy.
Michael, I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. You and Jason team up to do a 4-meat contest. You're going to split it up. Which 2 meats are you going to do, Michael?
My preference is ribs and brisket.
Are you good with that, Jason?
Yeah.
To take chicken and pork?
Listen, we talk, at these contests and stuff, and everybody talks about how they just hate trimming chicken. They despise trimming chicken. A lot of guys will cook legs because they hate trimming thighs. I told Michael and them, I enjoy it. It's actually therapeutic for me to sit down with a big thing of thighs and my cutting boards and my knives, and man, I just put some music on, and I like trimming thighs, so it don't bother me. David, is that weird?
Brother, every week going, tell me again why I'm doing these thighs.
You hate it too, David?
It's not my favorite.
Okay. Okay. Well,
David, are you a scraper? I know Jason's a scraper. Are you a scraper, David?
No.
Jason,
I've-
you're still scraping, aren't you?
I've tweaked a little bit. David has David's helped guide me along in this process.
Good. Well, that's good. David, how important is the ambassador program that you've got with Butcher Barbecue and the quality of people that you attract, like Michael and Jason?
I'm going to tell you what. I tried this once before, probably 10, 12 years ago. And let's just be real. I got burned. I didn't think I got a zero out of it. And I really studied on it 3 or 4 years ago when I wanted to bring it back. But I was picky in the teams that I got. If these guys are evident of exactly what it is. I myself, as an owner of a business, I even told them up front, I'm not looking to find the world's greatest social media person. I'm not looking to find next week's grand champion. I want great people that enjoy cooking, that have fun cooking, and don't mind telling people, hey, just grab the honey rub. That's what I use, and these guys are very open. When they're in your shop, I know they talk to customers and help them out and will listen. You can see this in their post when someone will say something, or on another page completely, they'll chime in and go, hey, I know what you're doing, but try this also. They're not, and I don't ask for them to give out their recipes or their secret, but just help people along, because if we can all gain a little bit on this, that's all I can ask. And I'm absolutely happy with every one of the brand ambassadors we brought on. These guys are exactly what we want. Just great people. Family first, cooking second. That's the way it needs to be.
Well, that's changing now. We're changing that.
Thank
Right,
you,
Michael? Hey, David, it's time to look at some food pictures. You got time to stay with us?
Yeah, Thunder don't tip off for another 45 minutes, so I'm good.
All right, here we go. Here, Jason's, there's his chicken box. We've seen it already. Michael's ribs. They said, Michael, those are beautiful. Jason, that's one of the nicest boxes I've ever seen. That looks like liquid glass, both of you. Michael, those look like shiny, brand new pennies.
Trust your butcher.
That's right. David Roberts bringing in the heat this week with some smoked meatloaf, one of my all-time favorites. David, are you a smoked meatloaf guy?
Oh, I like it. Yes, I do.
Jason, Michael?
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's good stuff.
I like how David does it right there. I've done the bacon wrap meatloaf, build the weave and all that. And don't get me wrong, I like bacon and I like meatloaf, but I don't like my meatloaf wrapped in bacon. But so I like the way David done it right there. That's beautiful.
That looks good.
Yeah.
Mike Shadwood checking in with a little simple grills, 4 burgers and some grilled onions. But I tell you what, sometimes the simpler the better.
Yep.
Pete checked in when he went to Michigan. 23-pound brisket he was getting ready to cook. Now, he didn't send me any pictures of it after it was cooked. So I hope he's got some on his phone and he'll show us when he gets back. I'm sure he will. Thomas Damon checking in from Germany, David.
Pastrami.
Looks like
Pastrami.
Yeah, pastrami. It looks good. It's got a real nice bark on it. And this is, I think Thomas did this just for me. Look at those spiral cut hot dogs on it. It looks like some sort of almost a dinner roll, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
That looks really good. Thomas Damon checking in from Germany. Well, fellas, I appreciate y'all so much for being with us. David, thanks for the surprise appearance for Michael and Jason. I thought they'd get a kick out of having the boss set in with them.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
lots of good tips as always.
Perry had a question over there on the side too. Perry's wanting to know what we cooked on. We cooked on drums this weekend, Perry. Both of us.
David, you still using your FMC?
Yeah.
Your pellet cooker?
Yep. Yeah. We've got the three pellet grills, and I use a drum for a little bit of flavor on the front side.
Hey, you still using the Barbecuer's Delight?
Yep. Had the contest mix this weekend.
Yep, that's good stuff. That's real good stuff. Fellas, thank you so much. I appreciate the time, Michael,
Thank
Jason,
y'all.
and David. And we'll do this again soon, okay?
We hope so.
And yeah, if you guys, Jason, I might as well just reserve Jason and Michael's spots here because they're on about every other week. What's the next stop, Michael?
Is it Coleman, Alabama in September?
We've got a little break right now, yeah. We're doing that 5 contest series, the the Alabama 2 meet series. And so we've got a little bit of a break right now in between. So, yeah, our next one is not till September the 6th.
So how many have y'all done now?
That's 3.
3.
That's 3 in Alabama, yeah.
Yeah.
So how'd you do in the first?
We finished like 12th in the first one.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And the
second
one we finished 3rd.
Third.
3rd.
And then this one first?
Yeah.
David, there you go. They're probably in the lead of the series.
Well, we're hoping to, have strong finishes for the last 2 and hopefully be contenders for it.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's great. Fellas, thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
We'll stay in touch.
Okay.
David, let's stay in touch.
You bet, Steve. Thanks for letting me come on. Mr. Pendley, Mr. Williams, congratulations.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you, David and Steve.
All right. That's what a great group of guys right there. Thank you, David Bosca, so much for coming in and sitting in with us. Let's see. Kate Cook says, way to go, y'all. We're especially proud of Jason. I think that's Jason's mother or aunt or one of those family members down there in North Georgia. Everybody, thanks for watching and thanks for listening to the Owl's Nest Barbecue Catch-Up Show. We'll be back next Monday night at 7 o'clock. And until then, come by the store and check out all the great supplies that we've got. And don't forget, on Tuesday through Saturday, we've got hot dogs and barbecue. And on Saturdays, we've got brisket, pulled pork, and hot dogs for everybody to purchase. You can call in your order. Go to my Facebook page, Owl's Nest Barbecue, or Steve Ray. And you can write in the comments of the top post if you want to reserve some food for Saturday. We'll sure put you some back. We had a great time. David Roberts is my partner in this on Saturdays now, and he's Cold Fire Barbecue, and David is a fantastic cook. That brisket he made Saturday was just off the chain, and it's a good place to get some good barbecue for the weekend. You can do that now at Owl's Nest Barbecue on Saturdays. So we'll see you soon. We thanks everybody for watching. We thank everybody for listening, and we will see y'all next Monday night, and we'll see you at the store. And don't forget the big news of the day. Joey Chestnut back in the 4th of July, Nathan's 4th of July hot dog eating contest. He is back. So we're excited to see that. We'll see you next Monday night right here at 7 o'clock on the Owl's Nest Barbecue Catch-Up Show with Steve and Pete.
I'm the king around here. Don't call me no dirt. I'm the king around here. No, what you say.